if we implement the fourth medium-term plan, within that fourth medium-term plan, there have to be specific programs that will help us realize our aspirations in those 5 thematic areas that we have within the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. So there are specific programs in agriculture, specific programs in health, specific programs in housing, small and medium enterprises, and of course the digital superhighway. The net effect is that as we then now implement the bottom-up economic, the medium-term plan 4, we are also meeting our obligations within the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. And subsequently, the CIDPs, all the county integrated development plans, are also effectively aligned to both the MTP IV and also the BETA. That is the rationale for alignment, so that the planning framework, all the documents we have within the planning framework, speak to each other to facilitate ease of implementation. As you may be aware, before even the Kenya Kwanza government came into being, we had what was referred to as the bottom-up economic forums. The president, who was then a presidential candidate, moved all over the country talking to stakeholders, and some of you could have been part and parcel of these stakeholder forums, to get the views of the people. And that is why we are saying the BETA agenda is a transformational, it's a paradigm shift, because as opposed to doing top-down planning, this time around we did bottom-up planning, so that we come up with a planning framework that addresses the challenges facing the common mwananchi at the grassroots. Some of the interventions, therefore, include strengthening the independence of the judiciary and enhancing efficiency within the justice system. And this is why there has been enhanced budgetary allocation to the judiciary as part and parcel of our justice system to ensure that we have been having a challenge of financing to small and medium-term enterprises, because most of these owners of small and medium enterprises do not have collateral to get financing from banks. And then now the banks also are today charging a whopping 16 to 17% interest on any loans and overdraft, which is advanced. That's why, again, in his wisdom, the president came up with the Hustler Fund, where now the interest rate is at a single-digit figure of 8% as opposed to 17%. Prioritizing the enhancement of the Women Enterprise Fund progressively from 4.5 billion to 13.5 billion shillings within the next 3 years. This is geared towards empowerment of women. If we have a strong women foundation from an economic perspective, 2 things are going to happen. 1, families are not going to miss food. 2, even students who are in high school from our families, they will not miss to go to school. I can assure you, women are very, very responsible people. We will have a strong family foundation from an economic perspective, and we will also sort out some of those challenges related to our children. Digitizing government services. As we speak, we have got a whopping 16,892 services which are today available on the e-citizen platform, against the background of just a meager 350 services which are available on the e-citizen platform when we came into government. This again is transformational because it's going to facilitate ease of access to services by the people, government services. We are not going to have any justification of asking Kenyans to physically visit government offices to consume government services. They would then be able to consume government from the comfort of wherever they are, from their homes or anywhere else, whether they are out of the country or anywhere else. It will be between the common mwananchi, the handset, and the e-citizen platform. There will be no intermediaries. We have been having a lot of bureaucratic bottlenecks in government, where certain government officers systematically put roadblocks between the people and the services. Issues to do with corruption will be a thing of the past with this digitalization, because you don't need to know anybody to access a government service. We are also proactively aware that there has been a challenge of affordability of the handset. smart-enabled telephones are still in the hands of just a few people. Again, proactively, the government has partnered with the private sector. We have embarked already on local assembly of cheap smart-enabled telephones. As we speak, that facility, the assembly plant, has turned out about 490,000 handsets, which has been consumed to the tune of 70% by Kenyans. We are trying to sort out the issue of affordability. These phones are going for about $40, per unit. So if we have a critical mass of Kenyans having access to smart-enabled telephones, and then all services are available on the e-citizen platform, it will really facilitate efficiency and effectiveness in all aspects of operations of government. And then again, we will be able, through this digitalization process, to bring in more Kenyans into the income bracket. The Hustler Fund itself is being rolled out electronically, digitally. You make application electronically, the disbursement and even the repayment is done electronically. And if we do that, we are also going to ensure that we enhance our revenue base through that process. Our proposition as government is that with the digitalization, we should be able to collect enough locally generated revenue to the extent that we will be able to sort out fully our external debt and finance local budgetary requirements, both developmental and recurrent expenditure using locally generated revenue. So that is the direction we are going as government, as opposed to borrowing. Enhancing borrowing has never helped any country. We can't be perpetual borrowers. We want to rely on our own locally generated revenue. And then there's the Affording Housing Program, a plan to construct 103,000 affordable housing units countrywide. Our objective within the housing space is not so much the houses themselves, but the benefits that will accrue in the value chain housing. We are going to create labor. That is one. So as we do the affordable housing in Siaya, the labor should come from Siaya. We don't need labor from outside. The supply of materials, we must create market for our people. We have got masons here, We have got plumbers here. We have got people who do windows and doors, steel windows and doors within Siaya County. We must create market for them so that they benefit from that housing space. While still in the education space, let me also let you know that within my ministry, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, today we have the Kenya Open University domiciled at the Konza Technopolis. That Konza platform is now providing our youth with the opportunity to pursue university education from wherever they are. It is amazing that today we even have matatu touts. Matatu touts. These fellows you see driving matatus, it's not because they have not gone to school. It's because the opportunities for further education perhaps are not existed or the jobs are not available. Today we have matatu touts logging into class through the Open University platform when they are waiting for their passages. That is how transformational this digitalization agenda is. We have got going to have affordability of education because there are people who have not been able to aspire further education because of affordability. It will drastically reduce the cost of education. And believe you me, moving forward with the digitalization, you don't need to confine Kenyans to the four walls of a classroom anymore. You should be able to pursue education virtually, online, at all levels. And that is why commensurately again, as government, we are embarking on digital skilling of Kenyans. We want to facilitate skilling of Kenyans as much as possible. We have started with our youth, and we are going to move to public officers and also the general public. Within the next 1 year, we should be able to have about 2 million youth having access to digital skills. But we are going right down here in the villages now, in partnership with the political class. We have worked closely with the parliament, our members of parliament. They have facilitated a review of the CDF Act that now allows them a threshold of 3% of annual allocation of CDF funds for construction of premises where we can set up the digital hubs. Our role then as national government is to, one, facilitate connectivity of the internet to those hubs. Two, make sure that we bring devices to those hubs. 3, facilitate the training for the youth for free. The youth are not going to pay. And then eventually we connect those youth to digital jobs. Global technological companies on digital platforms, there are a lot of jobs there. And that is the only way we are going to sort out the unemployment problem or challenge in this country. Since we started this program 1.5 years ago, we have managed to train 490,000 youth. Within the past 1 year alone, we have managed to create 139,000 digital jobs for our youth. This is transformational. It is the only avenue we have to sort out the unemployment challenge we have in this country. Imagine in each and every ward in Kenya, where there is an MCA, we are going to have a digital hub. And I've been given instructions to ensure that that happens, so I've got no options. Yeah? In each and every ward, we are going to have a digital hub. We will train the youth right here in the village, as opposed to collecting money to send our children abroad to work, to learn in America and work in America or any other country. They will be right here in the village, but they will be working for global technological companies and earning in dollars and other foreign currencies. This is going to be transformational. Imagine 6 months after a student has left for some of them are now earning an equivalent of 200,000 shillings every month on those digital platforms. The other advantage of those digital platforms is that it facilitates flexibility. We are moving away from working for one organization from the first day you are employed up to the day of retirement. The direction now we are moving is a gig economy that facilitates flexibility. Working for one company in the morning, another one in the afternoon, doing your own thing in the evening. So our proposition is that once these boys earn and they save, they should then be able to set up their own digital hubs also in the villages, so that we have got a multiplier effect in the villages. The most important thing also is that as they earn, these youth, the young boys and girls, imagine after Form 4, instead of waiting for them to finish university education, they start earning when they are still learning. And they also start paying tax at source as they earn. The tax is deducted in advance on the platform there. So they start contributing towards the what? Towards our economy at a very youthful age. So this is again transformation. The Social Health Insurance Act, you are aware of this, what has happened, the re-engineering of the operations of our health sector. That space also is going to be augmented by massive digitalization. We are looking at a situation where we are going to leverage on this digitalization to drastically reduce the cost of healthcare through digitalization. If you have taken a CT scan at Siaya Hospital, there is no need why, when you are in Nairobi and you fall sick again, you should go to Nairobi Hospital or Aga Khan Hospital or even Kenyatta Hospital and you are asked to do the same scan again. Your medical records should be available electronically. This is what we call interoperability of data, so that it can be accessed by any other health facility, any other doctor, but of course within the confines of the Data Protection Act, so that your health records remain both private and confidential as is required. You have also seen what the government has done with the health workers. You call them the community health workers, yeah, who are now operating in the villages. Again, that has created employment. In this region, the government has already embarked on the establishment of fish landing sites along all the beaches of Lake Victoria, yeah, be it Usenge, Wichilum, Luanda Kotieno, Asembo Bay, Kindu Bay, all the way to Mihur in Migori. This again is going to be transformational because we will facilitate our fishermen, which is a major industry in this region, income earner in this region, by way of refrigeration facilities. That is already work in process. On minerals, it does not make sense for us as government that in those areas where you have minerals, like here in Siaya, you have a lot of minerals in Sakwa, Wagoso, Saradidi in Asembo, just to give 2 examples by way of illustration. But when you go visit those regions, there is no performance indicator in terms of an improvement in the standards of living of the people, that they have actually benefited from the mining of gold in those areas. Because these foreign organizations, entities, they come, they mine the gold, and then they repatriate all the profits. We must change our laws and policy framework so that when gold is mined in a given area, or any other mineral for that matter, a substantial proportion of the proceeds from the gold or the mineral must go back to the people there. That is part and parcel of the government agenda. Within the blue economy, there are a lot of programs that the government is rolling out. We also want to leverage on opportunities for tourism within the blue economy. Forestry. Granted, we have faced challenges with the existing floods. But those challenges also present us with opportunities. How do we leverage on the current rainfalls so that we plant as many trees as possible? Our target is 15 billion trees. Myself, yours truly here, I'm right now at 1.2 million trees. And I've done this since the year 2007. Trees today is a source of livelihood. You will get money from trees through carbon credit. Trees will also help us ward off soil erosion. Yeah? Trees will also help us ensure that we have got sustainability in our climate setup for purpose by way of rainfall. So let us plant trees. Let us not just leave it in the hands of the national government or the county governments alone. Each and every one of us has got a responsibility to plant trees in our own individual capacities. Agro-processing and value addition. In this region, when we were young, cotton in Siaya here, cotton used to be a major source of livelihood. We had cotton ginneries all over. In places like Ndere, in Game, we had cotton ginneries. Even here in Bondo, we had cotton ginneries. It was a major source of livelihood. In fact, you may not believe it, that some of us who used to walk long distances to school, primary school, and therefore could not manage to go back to our respective homes over lunch, what we would do is to run into any existing cotton plantation and then get the cotton seed and eat, and that was our lunch. All that is today gone. You can't see any cotton plantation anywhere. We must revive cotton. It's going to be a major cash crop for Siaya County. Those ginneries are going to be a major source of livelihood by way of income to the people. In this region, within the space of infrastructure, the government has got the plan to operationalize the Lake Victoria Ring Road. This is a road that is intended to emanate all the way from Busia, and it will move along the lake up to the Kenya-Tanzania border. It's been in plan for a very long time. Under this William Ruto government, is going to see light at the end of the day. The Kenya National Highways Authority has already done the redesign, because it had been designed earlier. It has been redesigned. Ministry of Transport has approved it. It is now with the National Treasury for purposes of negotiation of funding with the World Bank, and that is work in progress. If that road alone is done, it will open up the entire Nyanza region by way of trade, entrepreneurship, and commerce, not just within the Nyanza region itself, but between the Nyanza region and other parts of the country, and even our neighboring countries. That is at the core of the infrastructure plan for this region, again, under the Kenya Kwanza government. Then financial inclusion. We have talked about the Hustler Fund, yeah, over and above others. Efficiency to enhance mobility, yeah, construction of 6,000 new roads. I'm aware that Kenyans are not getting impatient with us in the space of roads. But with the little resources that we have, one, we are settling the debt that is owed to contractors who had already done a bit of roads in the past few years. And we want to ensure that all those roads which had been stuck in all parts of the country are first of all completed before we embark on new ones. So the infrastructure scale up through the roads is work in process. In terms of airports, because that's also part of its infrastructure, modernization of Kisumu International Airport, that is in the plan. Expansion of the airport in Homa Bay. That is in the plan. And then the other one in Migori again. Just 2 days ago, the president proclaimed himself on an airstrip here within Alego in honor of the late General Ogola. That again is really going to facilitate movement to Siaya County. Perhaps we don't need to alight at Kisumu Airport and come all the way. You'll be able to have aircraft facilities here, courtesy of that airstrip. Issues of climate change and mitigation have been aptly espoused by the economists. We have no choice. We have to plant trees. As we plant trees, let's also do a mix between traditional trees and food trees. Food trees like avocado. That is going to be a major source of income. And in this county of Siaya, there's a lot of potential. The climate is user-friendly for production of avocado. I know of quite a number of individuals who are doing avocado here in Siaya, and they are already now exporting the avocado to foreign countries. The government has also launched a nationwide drive to grow 15 billion trees by 2032. We must play our role for purposes of sustainability. We have already mapped out all the areas where we are supposed to roll out fiber. Within the last 1 year, we have done about 11,000 kilometers of fiber optic cable. But now we are changing the model. We are engineering the model. As opposed to digging trenches along the ground to roll out fiber connectivity, we have re-engineered the model to leverage on the existing power lines of the Kenya Power and Lighting Company. The net effect of this is that everywhere where there is a power line, we are also going to have a fiber line. Are we together, good people? And as opposed to rolling out the 100,000 kilometers of fiber within the next 5 years, we will be able to roll out the 100,000 kilometers, which was our target of fiber, within the next 2 years. But eventually, or cumulatively, at the tail end, the implication is that anywhere where there is electricity connection, we will be able to have fiber connection and by extension, internet. Starting with the schools, the hospitals, the police stations, all government offices, up to the individual household. I know it sounds too good to be true, but these are the facts of the case. It's a question of just being creative and trying to do things a bit differently. If we leverage on the existing power transmission lines to roll out our fiber lines, which is now work in progress, that is what is going to happen. We will be able also to connect fiber lines to each and every household. My ministry has already signed a cooperation agreement, formally engaged Kenya Power, and now within another 1 month, this exercise will start. And it is this same infrastructure that we are going to use to take internet to the markets. Each and every market in this country, we want to connect internet so that we facilitate our mothers and sisters who are involved in itinerary trade by way of e-commerce. We are going to have free internet in each and every market. What this therefore means is that we don't need a physical interface between the seller of the commodity and the buyer of a commodity. It is a question of taking the photo of the commodity. If it is fish, unarusha kwa mtandao, the person who is supposed to buy your fish will be able to see it online. You negotiate, analipa na M-Pesa, and then unaweka kwa bodaboda inaenda. That is how transformational technology can be. On human capital development, there's commitment by the government to achieve the following critical targets: recruit and train 116,000 teachers and automatic basic education, expand technical vocational education and training, and scale up admissions to the National Open University. Since we opened this university in October, we now have about 2,000 people already registered pursuing university education virtually. In this region, we have got a critical mass of raw talent in sports, whether it is athletics, whether it is football. Let us focus on development of our sports. Once we have got the infrastructure, we should be able to identify and tap the talent in its initial raw stages, and we see how we can create opportunities for our people. Let us not just be preoccupied with Manchester United Arsenal, yeah. And then we forget about Gor Mahia and FC Leopards. That is why myself, I'm stuck with Gor Mahia. Yeah, we must we must support our local teams, and if we do that, we are going to create jobs for our what? For our youth. Yeah. So let's support our local teams. In fact, in another 1 week, I'll be offering support to all the football teams within the Lake region. I'll start with Kakamega Homeboys. I'll move to Nzoia Sugar. Here in Alego, I've got a date with Karapul FC. Then I'll move to Bondo United. We have got Dero FC there in Asembo. We have got Nigwa FC. We have Muhoroni Youth, Kisumu All Stars, Hot Stars, Migori Youth, Bonde United, and then eventually Shabana. If we support the community clubs, that will be the foundation for our national team. And this is what used to happen in the 80s and 90s when our national team was doing well. It was because the community clubs were the backbone of the national team. I keep on telling institutions, if you are using football as a marketing strategy, support the community clubs. There is no need why Kenya Breweries should have a football team because they don't have a fan base. So whom are you communicating to? You are facilitating a football team, but you are talking to yourself. That is not a good marketing strategy. In marketing, you don't talk to yourself. You communicate to people out there. So we really need to rethink. So here in Siaya, as part of the plan for this region, we cannot allow Karapule FC to go down. We can't allow Bondo FC to go down, just to mention but a few examples. Marketing Kenya as a film destination. The president left for Korea. He's negotiating a lot of opportunities for our youth in the creative economy space. We have a lot of talent within our youth in that space. We must support women enterprises. Personally, at my own level, I've already had meetings with all the women groups in Siaya County, in Kisumu County, Homa Bay County, and Migori County. What we have done is to facilitate meetings between these women groups and the relevant government institutions, whether it is the Hustler Fund, the Wezo Fund, yeah, so that they get to know what goes on in these organizations, how they can access the funding, and whom they need to talk to. We have also brought on board officials from SASA, Sacco Society's Regulatory Board. So we have already trained all these women by way of sensitization on how to constitute themselves into women's circles. As we speak, I've supported now these women groups. In each and every sub-county, we have got a women circle. Now we are moving to the next level of getting for them seed capital. And we will move ahead through a well-laid out plan so that in each and every sub-county, we support the women's circles. That will be a game changer for Nyanza. I find working with women attractive because when you support them, there's a multiplier effect. There's a women's circle I gave 1 million shillings in Awendo 1 year ago. Today they have managed, by way of multiplier effect, to multiply that money to 17 million shillings. Their children are now not missing to go to school. And I find this more attractive as opposed to putting a lot of money in the hands of men who, by multiplier effect, they become polygamous. Then there is the emergence of pandemics, as evidenced by COVID-19 outbreak, which underscores the need to strengthen our healthcare system. That is why the government is very keen on strengthening healthcare systems. And by the way, in Nyanza here, we are not doing poorly. Kisii can actually be a model country by way of health institutions. We can upgrade the health institutions here in Siaya. That Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, the Russia hospital, you call it what? What's the name? The new name? Yeah? Jaramogi what? Referral Hospital. The government now has got plans to upgrade its status. We cannot exclusively facilitate development as county governments or as national governments alone. We must work with the private sector. In fact, if we can meet our goals and objectives by just creating the policy and an enabling policy, legal and regulatory framework to allow the private sector to invest, so be it. Because what we need is development. The work of government is to create an enabling policy, legal, and regulatory framework. The work of government primarily should not be to compete in business with business. That is why we need to think of how to facilitate public-private partnerships. And in this regard, professionals from all over Nyanza have come together to organize what is called the Nyanza International Investment Conference. This conference will be held from the 28th to 29th of June this month at the Siaya Resort in Kisumu. And His Excellency, the President himself, leading from the front, will officially open that conference and also be the keynote speaker and chief guest. I want to use this opportunity to appeal to all of you to take part in that conference. It will be an opportunity for us to leverage on the expectations and aspirations of the private sector to help us uptake these opportunities we are talking about here in fishing, in agriculture. Yeah. A few days ago, I think about 3 days ago, I led the Nyanza professionals in a meeting with the European Union. And they are willing to bring in investors to take part in that conference so that we explain to them the opportunities available within Nyanza. As we do that for Nyanza, we start with Siaya here. Yeah? We start with Siaya here so that we see which development opportunities here can be uptaken by the private sector. Please register for that conference as delegates so that you become part and parcel of this history. We are going to make history in this region under this William Ruto government by not just bringing in resources from the national government, but also bringing in investors from outside to consume the opportunities that we have within Nyanza.